Hello, Model Railroad Talk fans. I am back. Haven't been around a while. As my last video stated, and if you listen to our audio podcast, I have been out. I would say 100% out of commission, but I've been out of commission a little bit because of having back surgery. Things are going good as far as that goes. I'm actually getting back to work, and for argument's sake, a little over a week, close, not quite 2 weeks, that kind of thing, but I will be back to work. Argument's sake, 2 weeks, basically. So in the meantime, I wanted to jump on here and do a video. And the reason for this video is because for my birthday, a couple weeks ago, my awesome girlfriend ended up getting me something that I've been getting interested in, and my good friend Steve R., he's been on our audio podcast. He had purchased one of these and did a whole bunch of research, and then after talking with him, I wanted to kind of get into it as well, but I wanted to make sure for myself that it was something that was going to be worth my time and effort. And that is, if you can tell by the title, 3D printing. Now, this is not going to be, if you have had any interest in it, I'm sure you know there are tons and tons of 3D printing videos out there, whether it's filament, resin printing, whatever. The one thing I noticed is I haven't found any, I should say, that are geared more towards our hobby of model railroading. They're about, majority of them are about gamers and cosplay and stuff, and not cutting them down by no means. Everybody has their own hobby, but if there are videos out there for model railroading and 3D printing, I don't see them. I'm not going to get into a lot of the details. This is more giving you some things to think about. Next week's on the 7th, 8th, I think it is, when episode comes out, I actually do an audio on our audio podcast. I am doing an episode on there of things to think about, but we'll recap some of those here. Of if your whole purpose to buy a 3D printer is you're thinking you're going to print your entire layout, cars and buildings and stuff like that, I can tell you in the end, I don't know that it's going to be less expensive. Okay. If anything, it could be, but the trial and error of 3D printing, especially when you're new to it, you haven't done it, I don't care how much research you do, you're going to go through resin, and you got to go through different kinds of resin to find the resin that works best for your situation. Okay. I have found the resin that I like, and I've been doing this for a couple weeks now, and actually being that I've been off work with my back, I've actually been able to put the time and effort into the research and the figuring out the adjustments and stuff. So now I also have other reasons for the 3D printer. I've got some ideas that I want to do that eventually I'm going to print. The girlfriend, she's got some things she wants to do as well. Okay. Wants me to print. And not only is it stuff that you can get from different websites, there's websites like Thingiverse and Printable. And I mean, there's a ton of them. Some are free, some you have to pay, some they ask for donations, whatever. But I also pay for a program, Shaper 3D. I pay for the upgraded one so I can have access to be able to design what I want. And not only design model railroad stuff, which I'll show you a couple things I did here in a minute, but other stuff, because I've got other projects and for the girlfriend and stuff. So if you're thinking of printing or getting into 3D printing to accent the model railroad hobby, it can be a good thing. when you're doing your research, bigger isn't always better. You have to think of the cost of running it, where you're going to run it at, because you know, the fumes are really not good for you, or they can affect you. Fortunately, where mine's at, I'm getting set up a vent, but I do have some filters running on my 3D printer as we speak. So there's some safety stuff that we're not going to get into all that. This is kind of just an overview if you've been thinking about getting into it. But anyways, yeah, there's lots of advantages to it. I'm not saying get into it, because there are a lot of people out there that make the detail parts. You've got John O's Junction, who does excellent stuff. You've got Pete's 3D Models, same thing there. My main reason, I guess really where this started, is, if you know from my previous videos, you know from our audio podcast, I'm building a Casey's convenience store, which I'll show you here in a little bit how far I am. I looked online, and while I found some stuff that may work on the inside, because I want to put a little bit of detail on the inside because I have lights in it, I didn't find anything that I liked or that I wouldn't have to alter. Well, and I'm not cutting down prices, but like the stuff I was looking at, I want to say for like one bench or whatever, for like a counter, I guess, you know, it was like $20 or $22, which that's fine. I understand now, especially that I've gotten into it, what the cost is. But my thing is if I'm going to have to cut it up and alter it, and something happens or I miscut, now I'm out, or I'm going to figure out a way to fix it. And is it really going to be what I want? So that was part of my reason for wanting to get into 3D printing, plus some of the other ideas I have. At the end of this, I will show you the unit I'm using. I actually have a second unit coming in now, because I'm printing. I've got actually quite a bit I want to print. Plus down the road, I've got some more stuff I want to print as well. And it's going to be in big pieces, and I want to keep it rolling. But, and for the record, my 3D printer is an Elegoo brand. I'm running the Saturn 3. Elegoo, unfortunately, or I shouldn't say unfortunately, Elegoo is not sponsoring this by no means. I mean, if they want to, they can, but until I hear from them, they're not. So the girlfriend bought that printer. The one that's coming in is the same printer, the Elegoo Saturn 3 I purchased. So you're going to be getting an honest review on it. And one was purchased through Elegoo, and then their United States distribution is NV Warehousing. I'll get you the link to that here soon. But I just wanted to let you know that they are not sponsoring me. So it's NV Liquidation LLC. So their website is greatdealsnv.com. So that's great deals, DEALS, NV.com. And you can go on there and you can purchase new. You can buy open box stuff, where it's brand new. It was buyer remorse or something like that, and it got sent back. The only thing would be maybe they've taken it out, check the serial number, put it back in, and everything's new. And then they have good used, where they bring them in, they go through them. They don't refurbish them, but they go through them, make sure it's operating. And, there's going to be some blemishes and stuff. And those are at even higher discount than the open box versus brand new. And then they have other deals. So if you're interested in it, I would recommend going to that NV Deals, what'd I just say? And this is why you guys watch me, because I don't greatdealsnv.com. And if you're a little worried about their website, not saying there's anything wrong with their website, but I'll show you. That's, at least on my phone, that's what their website is. They are legit. Actually, their customer service is great. But anyways, before we get into that more, I'm going to show you a couple things. So these I designed. This was one of the main reasons I wanted a 3D printer. So remember I said I couldn't find any stuff for the interior of my cases. Well, this is my shelving. You walk into a convenience store, they got shelves, right, for products. So I need to print a couple more, but I got 2 of them here. But when I printed these, I actually I made those in Shaper 3D, and I actually made a counter like where you would check out at. I designed these in Shaper 3D as well. This was actually 2, and after I printed them, I could have went back in and yeah, I could have made it an L shape, but I had 2 of these. Why waste it? So and what you see there is, that's the other thing about 3D resin printing. I have a little UV light. I was able to weld these together with, I have a little bottle. I put extra UV or resin in, and I get it on there, hit it with UV, and guess what? I mean, of course, what store doesn't need a dumpster, right? So I found this one on Thingiverse, which is free. Downloaded it, printed it, and it came out great. I'll show you these. I don't know how well you're going to actually be able to see these. These are just like a rooftop AC deal. And these I still need to clean up a little bit, just like the counter, but rooftop details and stuff. So if you're in the building stage like I am, it could be beneficial to have a smaller 3D printer. And I don't know, I haven't really run the numbers yet, if it's worth the money to I guess try to be cost effective if you're on a budget, because by the time you get the 3D printer set up and you're going to burn through resin. I've already been through 3,000 grams, which is basically a quart bottle. I'll show you the bottles, a little bigger than a quart, and they're $25, $30 depending on what, or I should say 15 to 30 depending on what brand, what kind, all that kind of stuff, until you get it right. There's a lot to it, but here's the cool thing. So, you know, our good friend Eric from Warbond's channel and on our audio podcast, he's building the 1-inch GP60M. Well, one of his grills, he had somebody make some and they broke on him, so he asked me to print some. So this is one of the side grills that go behind the cab. Here's another one on the opposite side, and with the resin, you can see, you can get good detail with the filament, but the resin printing is for smaller. That's why gamers like it. It seems that you get a little better printing, finer detail with the resin. Now, mind you, I'll show you, this is actually, this grill, which is for Eric's 1-inch scale. The grill was a misprint, but fan base and the fan hub, and I mean, you can see my hand, that's how big 1-inch scale is. But I'm printing these off, the samples off to send to them, and I actually have some special resin that I'm going to print them off in once I get it scheduled. So you might be asking, and then one last thing I'll show you. So here's a flatbed, since I work for a trucking company. I'm working on, I still have some painting to do, but I mean, I had to styrene the mud flaps and stuff, but, and I got to weather it. And then this was 3D printed. The only thing I added was the mirrors, CB antennas, and the mud flaps and the mud flap brackets, but I printed that off and I'm still working on painting that and everything else too. But so if your plan is to build your railroad solely, that's the only thing you're going to use it for, I don't know that it's worth it to go 3D printing, get into it, unless you go smaller and are able to design your own parts if you can't find them. If you're able to do those, then it's probably the way to go. I'm not cutting down, you know, by no means by me buying this, like I stated, I'm not cutting down. In fact, I'm once I get back to work and, you know, get some bills paid off from the surgery and stuff, I'm going to order a few more things from Jono's Junction, because let's face it, some of these people like Jono's Junction and Pete's 3D models and whatnot, they've been doing it long enough. They've got it honed in. You know, their parts, their product they make is excellent. In fact, like Jono's Junction, he recently came out with cell phone towers. I already purchased one. I'm planning on purchasing at least one more, maybe two more. So this is in no way, shape or form against him, because he doesn't print trucks and trailers, but he does print sideline detail and loads and stuff. So, and then like Pete's 3D models, he did have a couple counters, but they weren't the style I wanted. And I looked online and I wasn't finding anything. So I'm like, I'll print my own. Now you may be asking yourself, well, you're talking about it. Let's see what a 3D printer is. Okay. Well, I'm going to take you off the tripod, because if I don't, to be bumping everything. So bear with me here, folks. And as you can see, not a lot's been done here. I have started putting backdrop up a little bit, and that's a roll of background. And if you look down over here, that's actually where it is compared to my old stuff. It's actually teachers use it, a big roll. But there's the Casey's. And you can see over here, there's my detail. I printed those. They're rooftop details. But like I said, I'd show you the Casey's. I've got to get the ice machines, ice chest done. But I've got the islands done. I got the canopy done. The canopy actually has lights up underneath. I don't know what you can see. Yeah, you won't be able to see them from here. But my biggest thing is I got to figure out, work on this is going to be a module that'll drop in. That's what I'm working on. And that is why I wanted to be able to print not necessarily rooftop details, because people make those. I printed them off because I found them. I'm not going into so much detail that I'm going to have, okay, this is this, rooftop air conditioner. I'm just going to throw some stuff up there to make it. If somebody walks by, they're going to look at it and be like, oh, okay, it resembles, I'm not going that super detail. But like I showed you this other part. But over here is my 3D printer. This is the Elegoo Saturn. They actually have the Elegoo, or this is the Saturn 3, I'm sorry. They have, and my print is done, of which that print is actually the center finder. I am actually going to set you down here for a second so I can take this off so you can kind of look. But you see that just printed just out of liquid there. More or less liquid. And when I showed you, there's those bottles I was showing you. They are on a CD rack holder, so that kind of gives you a size comparison. But as you can see, I got several different types, a few different brands other than Elegoo, because I wanted to try. But this is the Elegoo Saturn 3. I love it. I would have liked to have been able to get the Saturn 4, but you got to go with what the girlfriend was willing to pay. They have a new one out, the Elegoo Saturn 4. It is, and the 4 Ultra. They do have smaller ones. They have the Mars line through the Great Deals NV. I think you can get like the Mars 2, 3, 4, and their different lines, which is a little bit small. Excuse me, a little bit smaller. They have the Saturn, and then they have the Jupiter, which is their big boy. I would love to have the Jupiter, but I don't have the space for it. But if I could afford it right now, I would actually buy the Saturn, like the same line I got, but I would buy the 4 Ultra. And that's mainly because of the self-leveling bed, and it's got a built-in Wi-Fi camera. So when you're printing, you can actually, that camera, you can kind of keep an eye on it, make sure you're not misprinting or anything, or, stop the machine before you have any issues. Overall, if you have a finished railroad and you're not looking to add any more detail, or you're kind of out of the building stage, other than maybe building a structure here or there, or rail cars here or there, 3D printing is probably not something to get into for model railroading. If you want to get into it for other stuff, great. If you're in the stages like I am, which now that I'm getting back to work, I can actually probably within a couple months have my upper level finished, my last yard, and then I can really start buckling down and getting backdrop in before I, then work on painting track and all that stuff. But I will use that to do line side detail stuff. Even though I can purchase that stuff, I have something that I can do that now. Now, having said that, if I can't find a file or I can't design one, I'm still going to go purchase it from somebody, like Jono's Junction or something, because they do excellent work. So Elegoo, if you're listening, reach out to Jono's Junction. It's JONOS Junction, JUNCTION.com. He does excellent work. I don't know if he uses filament or resin, but and I don't know if he does videos. I don't think he does. He does have a Facebook page like we do, and private group. But yeah, I just wanted to do a video on that because you don't see many, if any, resin printing, or I should say 3D printing videos for model railroading. And I don't want this, I'm not going to turn this into a full resin printing for model railroading channel, but I would like to be able to get the word out there for people, and get, if somebody is interested or ever thought about it, to let them know, if you can get past the frustrations, and you don't really need to be super technical, but you're able to read, go on to, Elegoo's website or Soriatex or whoever's website, and pull their specs, type them into a computer, and move your item into the slicer program, which is a whole nother subject we'll get into in other future episodes. If you're able to do that stuff, which is really easy, you can get into this, because all it takes is the printer, printer and resin, the setup there, a USB memory stick, and a computer, and you can start printing almost virtually the same day. So I just want to reiterate for you guys, Elegoo did not sponsor me on this in any way, shape, or form. I mean, if they want to, I'll allow them, but this has been and is my honest opinion. I love the Elegoo brand. I love my printer so far. Yeah, I've had frustrating times, but all in all, it was the learning process of it, because I've never done 3D printing before, but I've learned a lot, and I'm right now super happy with everything. So if you have any questions, reach out to us, modelrailroadtalk@gmail.com, or go to our website, www.modelrailroadtalk.com, or you can reach out to us through our our Facebook page at Model Railroad Talk, or through here, YouTube. One final note, I have pretty much decided I'm giving up on the TikTok thing. I just don't have the time. Even being off work, I know when I go back to work, I just don't have the time, especially now with getting into the 3D printing and keeping the audio and the video stuff up for the Model Railroad Talk productions, plus full-time job. So thank you for watching, and until next time, keep your train on the track.